Hey guys, this is the Overleveled podcast, episode 17, and we have quite a bit of topics, not as much as last week. And I do want to say next week there won't be a podcast, but we're gonna the week after we're gonna do some stuff for like the Game Awards and PSX, and then the week after that there won't be a podcast due to me and Inspector having finals for college. But we'll come back for like a Christmas episode, and then we just gotta figure out the scheduling for that. But of course, we do have Taladia back, and we have our usual panel members such as Marvel DC fan Inspector. And first, I'm gonna give the floor to Taladia to talk about Game Awards, maybe what he thinks is going to win the Game of the Year, and what his predictions are for games being shown at the Game Awards, because they haven't announced yet what's going to be there. I know Jeff Keighley on Twitter said they're going to be announcing a couple of games that might be shown, and then they're going to leave a couple, as surprises. So, Claudia, floor is yours.
Okay. Well, what's going on, you guys? So my predictions are fairly simple. I believe as a prediction that we're going to get the Wolf Among Us Season 2 trailer from Telltale. I do believe that because, every year Telltale seems to be there. Last year we had Guardians, the year before we had Batman. So the Wolf Among Us Season 2, I am predicting that to be there. I'm also predicting Death Stranding to be there. I'm also predicting that, because I don't think it'll be at PSX, just because there hasn't been any sort of big related news connected to PlayStation whatsoever. It wasn't at Paris Games Week. I'm also predicting as well that we could possibly see Red Dead Redemption 2 as a gameplay trailer. Because it would be, I know it comes out next year, but it would be something to really look forward to, get everyone hyped up for. And the final trailer, well, obviously we don't know this yet, is Rocksteady's next project. The reason why I'm saying that is because I did a discussion video about this on my YouTube channel, but I believe it's because they've been cooking up something for the last, 4 months now, and 3 to 4 months now, and so for them to announce it at the VGAs, I can see it happening. I can see it being announced, and it'll get everyone's attention for sure. That's what I predict in terms of new games being announced at the VGAs.
Any predictions for what may win the Game of the Year award?
I'm saying it now. It's not going to be PUBG. It's not going to be PUBG. Hell, I mean, even if I was going to say Game of the Year award, if I was going to say, hell, I would even want Friday the 13th to win the award for Game of the Year.
Don't go that far, Taladia.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. They actually did win an award for Best Indie Game.
Oh, they got nominated.
Yeah, they got nominated.
No.
They got nominated, or did they win it? Because
no, they nominated it. The Game Awards haven't started yet.
No, not for game, not for Game.
Or are you talking about Joystick or something like that?
Yeah, Joystick. Yeah.
Joystick had like their own like Game Awards show, but not like the actual Game Awards.
Yeah, they won it. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah, because it's broken. So I believe I'll probably think Mario would win that game of Game of the Year. I'm just saying because it's simply, I don't want PUBG to win it because it's not fully completed yet. The full game hasn't come out yet.
No, just one map and one mode.
Yeah, it's not full game. And yeah, it still hasn't been to be on Xbox, not as of yet. So we still got about 3 weeks before it comes out. So I don't know why it's been put on there. God knows why.
They do. Okay, keep going.
Best fighting game though, I think it would be Injustice, for sure. I do think there's gonna be some indie game to win it, but I don't know which one though.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm very skeptical because I don't know who's which is what
Mm-hmm.
for the indie game. I mean awards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they nominated like Hellblade and Cuphead and some
Oh,
other ones.
Cuphead, no way. I don't want Cuphead to win.
Damn.
No, because it's a frustrating game.
I mean, isn't it the point of the game though to be frustrating? It's kind of like Dark Souls in a way. Of like,
Yeah.
that's the point of it being difficult.
Yeah, but it's smash your controllers.
Yeah, I mean, the Dark Souls and Bloodborne was like that. I love Bloodborne, so.
You can never forget that.
All
But
right.
I just think that though. Cuphead, nope. PUBG, no. Mario Odyssey, yeah. To win it.
Damn. I know Inspector is going for Horizon Zero Dawn, and Marvel DC fans Horizon for Game of the Year meets, of course, Persona 5. Said that multiple times, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Well, we all saw that coming.
Oh yeah, dude, I love that game. I put so many hours in that game; it's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
Zelda, I didn't even put. Like, I put maybe 20 to 30 hours into Zelda, beat the game.
Yeah.
Other than that, Mario Odyssey, I still haven't finished the game yet. And, Persona 5 is just addictive. It's a really good game that I really enjoyed, and I'm glad it's being nominated for a bunch of categories. I don't think, it's going to be interesting, but Nintendo, for me, I said in the previous episode, is that Nintendo has two titles, and they're both, first-party studio games. And it's going to be interesting to see the divide, and it may not end up winning because it is a vote, for by a bunch of people online. So it's going to be interesting to actually see that and see if that's going to have this kind of not disconnect, but see the votes split, and if it's going to end up not having any of the Nintendo games winning Game of the Year. But so I guess we're going to go into PlayStation Experience and what may possibly be shown. I know that there's a couple of lists full of people being, shown going there, such as Naughty Dog. And I'm going to say for Naughty Dog, I think they're just going to really talk about the development process for The Last of Us Part 2. They did it with Uncharted 4, and they kind of did it with The Last of Us Part 2, but I think we're going to see more about the game engine and stuff like that, and maybe a couple of the character models for the game, and kind of described about this new facial mocap stuff, such as him talking about they're using muscle, this new type of muscle feature or something like that to show realistic muscle, and you kind of see it with the previous Last of Us Part 2 trailer. I think we're going to see that. Insomniac's supposed to be showing up. To what capacity we don't really know. Could be a trailer, or it could just kind of be talking about development process as well. I know Ghost of a I always mess up the pronunciation. Tsushima, I think it is. Sucker Punch is going to be talking about the game. I think we're kind of going to get some gameplay aspects for it, and I guess more of the open world aspect of the game. And there's a couple of other ones. God of War has Corey kind of announced on Twitter that he's cooking something special up for the PSX. I don't know if it's going to actually be the actual conference or whatnot, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the conference because, when you say you're cooking something up special, that means a trailer. I'm pretty much predicting we're going to get the announcement for when God of War is releasing. It's just, to me, it's not really hard to kind of predict that because we're getting to that process of, it's supposed to be in early 2018. And to me, March still seems like when God of War usually releases. So to me, it makes sense. We're getting to that about 3 to 4 month period of it being released. And it makes more sense for it to come out during that time and it to be announced at PSX. I know Days Gone, Sony Bend Studio is supposed to be there. I think we're going to get a trailer for Days Gone. It makes sense because they were absent for PSX, and it just seems like, and it's supposed to come out next year, so it makes sense to have that there. What else are we going to probably see? I'm going to say a bold prediction. I'm going to say we're going to see From Software in Japan. From Software is like new exclusive, for Sony. Could it be, Bloodborne 2 or that like Aztec game that was rumored? I think it'll be one of those two at the conference. I think that'll be like the one special announcement, and then like a couple game updates. I think maybe like Final Fantasy VII Remake may show up because it showed up a couple of times during PSX, and it makes kind of sense. I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to show up. I feel like that game is a long way from being done. And also, I don't think there's going to be much third-party studio games. I think maybe one like Destiny, but I highly doubt it because we didn't really get like any Destiny trailers for PSX in the past. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. But other than that, like, I think those are like the type of games that will show up. But yeah, don't expect any Last of Us like, part 2 trailers like we did with PSX and Paris Games Week. This PSX is more like questions being answered, development process, and all that. So I guess I'll give the floor to Inspector and what he thinks may be shown at PSX.
I think that, like you said, I don't think we're going to get another trailer for Last of Us Part 2. As you said, I think they're going to like just talk about development and probably like show some stills from the previous trailer to show how like their engine, how they updated their engine. I'm excited to see more of Ghost of Tsushima since you said Sucker Punch confirmed that they'll be there.
Yes.
Did they say whether it's going to be gameplay or not, or is it going to be?
It's up in the air whether or not it's going to be gameplay or not.
Yeah, I would like to see like gameplay, but I understand if it's another like CGI trailer or like story trailer or whatever, I think it's going to be short. I think there's going to be a larger. I think there might be a longer like vertical slice of God of War. I don't think it's going to be a trailer. I think it's going to be like a vertical slice, just like what they showed at Paris Games Week, just a bit longer. What else for PSX? I don't think there was anything else like big.
Do you think they're gonna give that release date though for God of War?
Oh yeah, they're gonna give release date for God of War, mate. Possibly Spider-Man, but I would give that probably like a 50-50 chance, or maybe even lower, maybe 60, 40-60, 40 for yes and 60 for no. But I don't know. But yes, I would definitely say God of War. Maybe, but they delayed they delayed Detroit Become Human, right? So
I completely forgot if they did or didn't.
I think they did, or I don't know because they didn't put like they.
All I know is it's supposed to be in 2018.
Yeah, I think they might show a bit more of Detroit Become Human, but I think that's all. I think that Media Molecule game, Dreams. I think that's.
Oh yeah. They said that it's supposed to be there.
Oh, it's supposed to be there.
Media Molecule, yes. Yeah, it's been a while since Media Molecule has shown anything from.
It was like last year E3, wasn't it? They've been silent ever since. Maybe because everyone was so like weirded out about that game. Like, what is this game even? Like what?
And I'm gonna feel so bad for Media Molecule because this game is not gonna sell well, and their games because they worked on Little Big Planet 1 and 2. Those games relatively sold well. Then they worked on Tearaway, Unfolded on the PS Vita. That didn't sell well, nor did the remastered for the PS4 version.
Yeah, maybe because it was on the PS Vita. But
but then Dreams isn't going to sell well either. So I don't know if Sony might end up closing down Media Molecules
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because I know this isn't going to sell well.
It's just too experimental, and there's like no, like you don't have a specific market for it. Like it's not like Little Big Planet, where it's like you can just give it to your kids and they can play it.
Mhm.
And you could. I don't like comparing it to Minecraft, but it's kind of like Minecraft because like create your own. You could use your imagination, and that's why I never got Little Big Planet, because I have no imagination.
Yeah.
But yeah. Wasn't Mod Nation Racers their game too, or was that a different studio?
I don't know.
But yeah, I don't think Dreams is gonna. I think Sony might end up closing down Media Molecule, which is sad because that means a lot of people are gonna lose their jobs. But what can you do?
Mm-hmm. And did you say anything about Days Gone?
They might show Days Gone. I just think Days Gone, like, not a lot of people seem that interested in Days Gone just because it's another zombie game,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I don't like saying Last of Us is a zombie game, but like I think the zombie game people are more interested in is Last of Us, because Days Gone just was like another, like, it looks like another zombie game. Like, just it looks like Dying Light, just with a motorcycle
Mm-hmm.
and third person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do need to release it, because if Last of Us is coming out 2019, they can't delay it to 2019. Like, that game
Yeah.
has to come out in 2018.
Yeah, it has to come out in 2018.
Because
They don't.
either A, I don't think it's gonna hurt The Last of Us, like, but you could
It's
see
not gonna
it
hurt The Last
affect
of Us,
it,
but
or
it's
it's gonna
it's gonna
affect
hurt.
Days Gone.
It's gonna affect Days Gone.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna have to come out this year. They can't delay it to 2019.
Yeah, next year. You mean, not this year?
Yeah, 2018. And what else? I do think the Bloodborne 2, or because From Software has been quiet about what they're working on, and it's rumored to be a PlayStation exclusive.
Who knows?
Yeah, okay.
Maybe they're gonna throw a wrench and surprise us, like what Sucker Punch did.
That's true.
When Guerrilla announced Horizon. But I don't know. They have their formula. I've never played a From Software game because I don't like breaking controllers. So yeah, those games are not my type. I get why people like challenging games, but like when the point of the game is just to be challenging, like I don't like that type of game.
Yeah.
So
I guess I'll get the floor to a Marvel DC fan. What do you think is gonna be shown at PSX? I do want to keep stress the fact that it's not going to be as big as Paris Games Week or E3.
Yeah, finally. I don't know, man. Like for God of War, I'm hoping for a release date. Maybe like a teaser, like just a small little teaser at the most. And I want to say the same thing for Spider-Man, but honestly, I don't know. Last of Us, I would agree that it'd just be them discussing the upgraded engine and several, like story bits, maybe a little bit, not like too spoilery, just like little synopsis at the most. But I want to see something for FF7 remake because I've actually been really excited for that game. I'm definitely not. I'm sure that they're probably not going to show anything for Kingdom Hearts, which makes me kind of sad. But I mean, honestly, that's all I really got. Like for what I'm mostly interested in, but yeah.
Nice. Any curveball? Any surprise announcements you may think they'll show?
Honestly, man, like I couldn't tell you I'm expecting a curveball, but it's just I don't know what they're gonna do. Like I'm hoping for something good. So.
All right. What about you, Taladia?
For predictions in terms of PSX, it's a hard one for me because there is loads of games that loads of studios that are going to be there. 80, I would say 80 plus, but I'm guessing Naughty Dog's probably say something about Last of Us 2, like you say. I'm guessing God of War as well, something just a release date. I'm also going to say that Insomniac also giving us a release date for that Spider-Man PS4 game, even though we've got a trailer, we've had a trailer Paris Games Week, but a release date I think it's needed because we haven't had anything like in terms of release date, but we've just had gameplay trailer, which I'm like, okay. Sucker Punch's new IP, probably some news about it, I'm hoping. And also Detroit Upon Humans. I'm also expecting that. But I don't see any of the big studios actually be there. I mean, in terms of, surprises though, I have no clue. I mean, if there was going to be a big surprise, probably be Final Fantasy VII Remake. That would be a big surprise. If they were going to announce something.
They might put Shadow Colossus remake.
Yeah, because we did get the announcement. It's supposed to come out in February, the game. So I'm actually really excited for that remake. So it's gonna be.
Yeah,
I'll tell you something now. If anyone says this, there's not going to be a Batman game announcement, and I guarantee you that.
No. Yeah, like I'm excited for Shadow of the Colossus just because I haven't played it, so I've never played Shadow of the Colossus, so I want to play the remake. Plus, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my predictions though in terms of what I think will be there at the PSX.
Yeah.
Yep. I do want to say it's supposed to be PSX. I'll give you guys the date when it's supposed to be. December. No. The actual conference is December 8th. December 9th is like the interviews.
Yeah. What time on December 8th?
December 8th, I believe. Let me go to see it because there's so many different time zones. So
Is that a Friday?
Yeah, it's on a Friday, which is strange because they usually do the actual conference on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So wait. Or wait. Maybe actually, I think I might be conference. Actually, I might be wrong. Okay, yeah. Here we are. So I was right. Friday, December 8th, 2017. These don't actually have the time for it on the PlayStation site, but I saw like in earlier sites that they did give a time for it with different time zones. So that's kind of rip why there isn't any announcements on
8 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So if it's 8 p.m. Pacific time, that means it's 10 p.m. Central time.
Yeah.
And 11 p.m. Eastern time.
So, kind of ripped for me, but I'll sacrifice it. I have a final the next day on Saturday.
And that means it's 6 a.m. London time, Claudia.
6 a.m.?
Yeah, it's 6 a.m. your time. 6 or like 5 or 6 a.m. something like that.
Take a quick nap, Claudia.
No.
Take that now.
No.
Power nap it.
Power nap.
I've done it.
Take an uncaged power nap. sleep for
I've done
3
that.
hours, and just wake up.
No, I'll do an all-nighter.
Oh shit!
Like I did like
Just drink
I
some
did today.
coffee.
We're getting kind of off topic here. Let's move on.
All right. So this is some big news just regarding Star Wars Battlefront 2. And like, it's a lot of subcategory, subtopics on this because now like we have like Hawaii and I don't know if it's another state or whatnot, legislators discussing that Battlefront 2 is possibly gambling. So they may create some laws regarding it, saying like if they have loot boxes, that kids are not able to obtain the video game. Which is, it's good in a way, right? Because it now limits the sales for EA's game of Star Wars, in general. Like Need for Speed has loot crates, and that means they're going to have less sales and get less money, which means in turn they're going to have to get rid of the loot box system in their video games so they can start getting more revenue. And what do you guys think about that? The governments are kind of cracking down on the loot box or loot crates in video games now. It's starting to make headway in a couple of countries, including ours in America. And we'll start off with Inspector.
I find it interesting. I think they're kind of overblowing it a bit. I get where they're coming from, like how you have to like pay to get the better characters and all that stuff. But like, if they're cracking down on EA, they should be cracking down on like every other studio then.
Oh no, I know. What they were saying, I was giving an example that they're going to do this across the board.
Okay.
And not just like this one company.
Yeah, like if any company, like except for EA, like they should do it for like Activision, because Activision is probably like worse than EA, but and maybe Ubisoft. But Ubisoft has kind of gotten more lax with their microtransactions as of late.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Like, I think they're overblowing it a little bit, and this is just Louisiana, right? This is just one state.
Oh no, it's Hawaii and
it's
I don't
Hawaii.
know. Yeah, Hawaii. And there was another one. I don't know the other one.
Yeah. This sounds like that stupid bill that Schwarzenegger like wanted to pass, where it's like, oh, you can't sell M-rated games to minors. It sounds like that, but just like, oh, we're gonna like I don't want to wish like for a game to fail, but I get why people are not liking the system of Battlefront. I have to pay like $150 to get Darth Vader, or like $300 to get Luke Skywalker. Like I get that, but like, yeah.
What about you, Marvel DC fan? What do you think about them cracking down on loot crate systems and them talking about basically Battlefront 2 and this making a lot of news outlets about gambling and such as getting star cards and they're having to pay loot crates for a while to get a certain star card?
Honestly, like, I'm kind of hearing about it. Like, I'm a little mixed about it because, like, I applaud the idea, but I don't think the execution it works. Because, I mean, kids, like, you don't want kids to gamble, right? But, I mean, for, like, the developers and stuff, that'll really hurt sales going forward. So I don't know what to think about it, really. Like, it's just kind of at this standstill for me where, I mean, it's interesting, but also, like, is it really worth the effort?
All right, what about you, Taladia?
But I do know one thing is that with Star Wars is that I know Belgium banned the loot crate system in that country, and they're trying to ban it across Europe. So for them to do that, uh, I'm like, I'm glad they're doing something about it. To be honest with you,
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, it's EA. We all know what EA are like.
Mm-hmm.
EA always scams us with giving us, oh, we'll make this. We won't charge you for this, but at the end of the day, beginning of the game, it's like, oh, we're not gonna, you'll get the DLC for free, but when it came down to the crunch, we had to pay for the crates. But now giving us free, and you still get shitty stuff in the crates. I'm like, this is bullshit. They should just take the crates out of the game. And no crates, just earn it. Like, you know how achievements you get? Like, some of the achievements you get in game, they should just give you like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, how you got with Injustice, like with Injustice 2, right? You get the gear system. So with each character, you get their own pieces. So they should do that with Star Wars, though. So you just get it for free then. You don't have to open the crates then.
Yeah. All right. So we got another subtopic on Star Wars Battlefront 2, and they temporarily took out the loot crate systems and the microtransactions out of the Star Wars Battlefront 2, and emphasis on temporarily. And it's interesting, right? EA, didn't do this with Need for Speed, so everyone's like, huh, that's interesting. Was it because of the backlash on Reddit or whatnot? Because, there was still backlash on Need for Speed, but they didn't just take it out. They kind of left it there, right? So, a report was coming out that Disney was kind of mad at EA for doing this and, having Star Wars being associated with gambling. And supposedly Bob Iger, who is the CEO of Disney, basically threatened to pull the license from, from EA for Star Wars, which I personally think they should pull the license and give it to a different publisher. But that's my thought there. And EA did that because what Disney wants is they don't want this negative publicity coming into, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, because it in turn can affect sales and stuff like that. Because Battlefront 2 making the media outlets and it could relate to something else in a later topic we'll talk about. And it could affect the sales for that. And it's already affecting the sales for Battlefront 2 as a whole, being down 64% from the UK from, comparing it to Battlefront 1 to 2, which it's not doing that well in terms of sales. But what are your thoughts, Inspector, about, Disney, coming in and basically telling them, hey, you have to take this out?
I'm not surprised because it's Disney, but then again, I don't think there's like a lot of crossover with people who play Battlefront than people who watch the movies. So I don't think it will affect Last Jedi that much. Because I think less people about Battlefront 2 than the first one.
Yeah, because of the negative
so
stuff.
So I don't see it affecting Last Jedi, and like as you said, with removing the loot crates temporarily, that's just temporarily, so it's not going to matter in the long run. They're probably they're going to put it back probably within the next week or so or something, or probably maybe not until after Last Jedi release.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Is another report was saying it's going to come out after maybe 2 or 3 weeks after The Last Jedi. It's going to be purely cosmetic loot crates and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's all I have to say.
What about you, Marvel DC fan? What do you think about Disney basically threatening EA?
I mean, it's not surprising. I agree with that, but like, I don't really think it's gonna hurt Last Jedi. Like, I don't know, man. And yeah, it's just, I mean, we all could have saw this coming, right? Like, but yeah, I really got nothing to say on it, to be honest.
Would you like Disney just to remove the rights from EA and give it to another publisher?
To be honest, yes.
Okay.
But if I had to pick a developer, but I'm not sure what I picked, but they should remove the license.
Yeah. What about you, Taladio? What do you think?
About loot crates being coming out of this console temporarily, I think that was a good thing. But if it was permanent, I think it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a bonus for them. It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt them. It would actually make more sales in terms of, for the game. I mean, that's what I said. I mean, it's like what I said before. I mean, if they took it out of the game and just make it as if you earn, certain crafts and stuff like that, then it makes more sense. But they're not going to do that.
Yeah. And what do you think about Disney, being the cause of that and having threatened EA to take away the license if they didn't?
I think good on Disney putting EA in their place, because Disney now owns EA. If you technically think about it,
Yeah, because they gave them the license.
yeah. So I'd say Disney will be saying to EA, "Screw you guys, fix this shit. Otherwise, you're gonna lose the license, and you won't have another game come out in next time."
I want to emphasis that, right? If let's say Anthem, right? Riddled with microtransactions, riddled with loot boxes. EA wouldn't have to answer to anyone about that. They would just keep it in, and they wouldn't care about the backlash until it really affects their sales, right? And we see that with Need for Speed. There was a backlash, and about the loot crates and microtransactions in the game. EA didn't give a shit. And of course, Disney having the property, owning it, and giving the license to them, they have to answer to Disney. And just to let you guys know, don't expect this to keep happening unless their sales start to tank. And that's all I have to say on that topic for Star Wars Battlefront 2's fiasco and all of that. And quickly to go into a transitional topic is what for you guys, what is the most emotional scene in a video game you guys have experienced? And I'm not gonna go first. That'll be a different change of pace for us. And we'll start off with Inspector.
Oh, that's so hard. I can think of so many good and really good scenes. One of the most one of the most emotional scenes, I think, is it's not really a big scene, but it's a small scene. It's in Uncharted 4. It's when Sam and Nate are in the pirate city, and you know how in Uncharted 4 you could choose to have little conversations with and I forgot what the conversation was about, but it was just character bonding, and I like that about that scene. I just like good character bonding moments. And also what else? I think the ending of Last of Us, that had a big punch.
Yeah.
Joel, why did you lie?
Hey man, he just wanted to protect her in a way, in his own way. He didn't want to lose her. We'll go with a Marvel DC fan. What is the most emotional scene in a video game that you have experienced?
You know, I really wanted to go Last of Us. And, you know, it is very emotional. It is like one of my top emotional moments in video games. But the one I'm going to go with is with the death of Lee in the last, not the Walking Dead. I was about to say Last of Us. I was like, God damn it. The Walking Lee's death. It struck a chord with me because I loved Lee. I loved his relationship with Clementine, with Kenny, and pretty much every other character that you could choose to, have a, connection with. And, seeing the type of hell that he went through with, the walkers and the cannibals and, like, all this other crazy stuff. And, like, it's just, you really, like, feel like you are dying with Lee. And after Clementine shoots the gun and it just fades to black, you get this kind of emptiness that, you don't really feel in a lot of games, besides Last of Us. But I'm going to go with that as my most emotional moment in a video game.
Mm-hmm. I got you. Now I'm gonna go really quickly because I had to think about it while you guys.
Excuse me,
talking.
you forgot me.
No, I know. I'm going after you. You're going after me.
Best for last, Claudia.
Yeah, saving the best for last.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't want to go with the most obvious choice, which is The Last of Us. I wanted to think really into a different way of thinking, so just not make it very apparent, but like they're still in like the top 3 or top like 5 of scenes, and I'm gonna go with like Mass Effect 3, and I want to go with Morden's death scene, and that to me was a very like emotional scene that I experienced in the game. Besides, Last of Us.
I thought you were gonna say the ending of Mass Effect 3.
Oh, nah. Not I'll go into a little bit of that in a bit, right? But so what I mean by Morden's death scene is like as a character, he's changed a lot in terms of development from Mass Effect 2 to that part in Mass Effect 3. Him trying to cover up the genophage and not curing the genophage, always in this government way, he was trying to not have the Krogans overproduce because he believes that they're a very chaotic species and that they would create mass genocide, but later on experience Commander Shepard and his teams and him wanting to right the wrong he did and the government days when he's working with his people, and then in Mass Effect 3 trying to cure the genophage. And you have the option to try to have Morden, not cure it or kill him, or have him do the right thing. It was so sad seeing him go up the elevator and just singing that like iconic song he sung in Mass Effect 2, and just having him, save the Krogan people so they can, populate again and not, birth dead Krogan babies, and now have them a chance to rebuild. And it was so sad seeing him die, and it just like punches you on the gut. And I want to say also kind of near the end scene of Mass Effect, but not really. It's with the extended cut. If you bring one of your romance partners in towards like near the ending with the last scene for battle, where you have to, basically run into the beam, but like once like your team gets hit by a beam, and you basically call an evac for your team, and then you get this like really emotional dialogue that says, like, because Commander Shepard is you, and that's what I really love the Mass Effect series as a whole. and it was sad to let go of that romance character. And it was a very good scene that they did it in that way. Yeah, that's what I really liked about that. But then after that, just takes a nosedive for Mass Effect 3. But yeah, those are the scenes that I really felt heavily invested in that payoff. What about you, Taladia?
It's not a hard one for me. Well, the first one I'd say as that hit me hard was the death of the Batman from Batman Arkham Knight when he says to Selina Kyle, that what did he say? I can't exactly remember what he said, but it's basically that it was a very sad time. That was one scene that really hit me hard. And the second one would be the Joker's death, and from Arkham City, because that was the last ever portrayal that Mark Hamill did in Batman Arkham City when Joker was still alive in the Arkham series. And that really hit the fans, and I felt as if it hit me as well, because we've known Joker and Batman have been going at it for years. And, I felt as if I was like, wow, the Joker's dead. Wow. And, I think in terms of that those are my two most hard-hitting death scenes that actually hit me hard.
All right, so now we're gonna go into Star Wars: The Last Jedi box office analysis, predictions, or whatever that Disney thinks they're gonna make is over 200 million, which means it's gonna be in the top 4 movies that have made over 200 million, I think, which is Avengers, the first Avengers, of course Star Wars Force Awakens, which still has that title,
and, Avatar, right?
I think so. And it's that, and also Jurassic World. I could be wrong if it's Avatar or not. Let me check real quick what has the 200 mil openings. 200 mil domestic openings. Domestic opening records. Wiki. Okay. So the first one is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It made $247,966,675 for the opening weekend. I meant. Jurassic World. Oh no. Okay, no. Avatar wasn't. Avatar was way in the bottom actually. But no, it goes for the opening weekend in U.S. and Canada. Star Wars: The Force Awakens, number 1. Number 2 is Jurassic World. Number 3 is Marvel's The Avengers. And then you got Avengers Age of Ultron, which is 191,271,109, which is number 4.
Okay, so there's only 3 movies that make 200 million.
Yep, which means it will be the 4th if it does make what is projected to be, which means Avengers Age of Ultron would go to 5 and then Civil War 6. Which is pretty good. And it's kind of crazy, though, just the amount of Disney movies making that much money. And then you got Jurassic World there, which...
Yeah.
The less said, the better, I guess. What do we think about the projections? Do you guys think that it's going to be right on, less, or more? And I want to kind of say... For me, this is interesting. I didn't think of it as a surprise, but I kind of see this going in the way of Fast 7, I believe it was, right? With Paul Walker's death. I think it kind of raised the amount of money and the amount of people going to see it. I kind of feel like it's going to have that same effect with Star Wars: The Last Jedi. due to Carrie Fisher's passing, just to see, Carrie Fisher's last performance in a movie. I really think that, and I think, her fans are going to go out to see it. It just makes the most logical sense. And those are my thoughts there, Inspector.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to make 200 million, but I get why Disney thinks it's going to make 200 million. I feel it's probably going to make around what Age of Ultron did, probably like in the 190s, maybe in the 180s. Just because I feel like even though this movie has a lot of like hype behind it, it doesn't have as much hype as Force Awakens did. Because like Force Awakens was the return of Star Wars and blah blah blah, and that's why everyone wants to go see it. Like everyone wants to see Last Jedi, but I think it's more of like I think people are more interested in. This is gonna sound really weird, but more people are interested in what Rey's lineage is. Lineage is,
Lineage, yeah.
and I think people think that they're going to get it in this movie, which like they probably could, but like I think people are just like it's just the problem with all these Star Wars movies is that there's so much speculation that like if you speculate this much, it's kind of the same thing with like the comic book movies, but like Star Wars has like I think Star Wars has a way bigger fan base. It's been around since the Star Wars universe has been around for longer. But I feel it's gonna be like in the 190-ish range, by like 195, somewhere near there.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about you, Marvel DC fan? What do you think?
As much as I want, the movie to do successful, I don't think it's going to hit the mark that Disney wants it to. I think at best, it'll probably be a little bit below that, but I mean, who knows? It might as well top that or something like that, with Carrie Fisher fans and all that, with her passing, just like it did with Fast and Furious. It could help box office and that kind of thing. But if I'm honest, I don't think it's going to hit that mark. I'm guessing it'll be almost to that range, but not exactly. Maybe like 180 or like maybe 170 at the most. But yeah.
What about you, Taladio?
I think it'll probably make about 175. In all honesty, even though it's a year since Carrie Fisher passed away, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even though it's almost a year, it's almost a year, I think that would take to some hardcore fans to go and see it twice or three times. To go and see the movie. But I think it'd probably be 175, just on the basis of it. Carrie Fisher really, and this was her last ever movie that she ever did.
And I feel if this, like, I'm being like really on the pessimistic side here, and I don't like doing this, but like I don't think it's gonna blow up in their face, but like if it makes less than they want, I think announcing that Rian Johnson trilogy this early was a mistake. I think they should have held off until Last Jedi came out to announce that. I think people are too up on Rian Johnson's high horses, and like they're giving so much hype to Rian Johnson that like I like Rian Johnson, I really like Looper, but like I think they're hyping him up too much. But
I mean, yeah, granted, we haven't seen the movie though. To me, it's like Disney has seemed impressed with what the cut is.
Yeah.
to say, oh, he deserves the trilogy. We don't know. We could watch it and be like, oh, no, he doesn't. What happened, Ryan Johnson? Looper was amazing. This isn't as amazing, or something like that. Or it could be the complete opposite, and it be a very good film to beat out a lot of the old films. Who knows? We really don't know. All we know, is it's going to be the longest Star Wars film, and it's supposed to be the darkest one as well. So yeah, take that as you wanted to take it. But I personally think, I'm probably going to enjoy it. I'm probably going to enjoy it more than Force Awakens. And it seems like they like him more than J.J. Abrams, because J.J. Abrams didn't get that trilogy compared to Ryan Johnson.
Well, I mean, J.J. Abrams is coming back for Episode 9.
Yeah.
So.
Because I was wondering why, Ryan Johnson wasn't going to direct Episode 9, but the whole reason was because of the trilogy.
I feel it was a mistake to hire Colin Trevorrow from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
That was such a mistake.
I said that multiple times. I was like, this is probably going to be the worst Star Wars film.
Yeah,
to date.
I get Jurassic World made a lot of money, but it wasn't a good movie. No offense to Colin Trevorrow, but that was not a good movie. But
it might have if they might have kept them, it might have damaged the Star Wars brand. In all honesty,
and I get why people are mad at Kathleen Kennedy, because she's firing a lot of people. She fired Lord and Miller on Han Solo and replaced him with Ron Howard. To be honest, I don't think that many people are interested in the Solo movie. Air.
Yeah.
Because the Solo movie comes out May of 2019, right?
I think, or 20. I don't know. It might be 2018 or 2019.
Yeah.
Let me.
I think it's 20.
Han Solo release May 2015, 2018.
Okay.
So next year. Wow, jeez.
Yeah, and there's no hype around it, and
no trailer.
No trailer. They're probably gonna drop it in front of Last Jedi.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't think so. It's gonna be interesting.
I know that's 6 months away. That's usually when they start.
Yeah, I know, but there hasn't been any news about it.
I know there hasn't been any news, and Ron Howard is reshooting half the movie. So
it's gonna be interesting to see. We're gonna see, because it's gonna be
see,
interesting comparison.
I know a lot of people liked Rogue One, but I thought Rogue One was really messy, and you can tell when you can tell when the movie was reshot. So let's see if it ends up like Rogue One, or if it ends up I don't know. I can't really compare it to any other movie except for Force Awakens, since Force Awakens is the only other movie to come out.
Oh, I mean, you can kind of compare. You can't really compare it to the situation, for Justice League, but it's kind of in a similar boat into extensive reshoots, in terms of firing the director, but it's similar aspects. I'll say that.
Except Disney was way more blunt about it than Warner Brothers is
Yeah.
Warner Brothers was they were just dancing around.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how kind of blunt Kathleen Kennedy was. It's yeah, we fired them.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll go into the Justice League in a bit about advice and feedback and what they need to do. So I guess we'll go into a bit with this is due to leaks, and also due to images being shown, and this is I believe somebody that previous employee at IGN leaked images for the Avengers Infinity War trailer, and he kind of confirmed that this trailer is going to be released December 4th, which means it's going to be released alongside The Last Jedi, which basically everyone's prediction was that, or some others were, it's going to be released alongside Black Panther. I thought it's going to make more sense for Star Wars The Last Jedi to be released with him. And yeah, this is not high. Why I say high D? High definition quality.
High,
It's high D. I was like, wait a minute, high definition quality
high
and
C,
high C. Yeah. Oh gosh. And it looks legit. You have a couple still shots. You have I forgot who was fighting who. I think we had Proxima. I have no idea who Proxima is. I know she's a part of the Black Order. I don't really know who the Black Order is because I started reading comics just recently.
The Black Order. Like I don't know who the Black Order is, but it's kind of like Thanos's like guard, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks good. It's interesting. December 4th, it's going to be released there. And yeah, I'm not surprised an former IG employee knows about this because, most news outlets probably know about this and they didn't want to say anything about it. Or, IGN's really closely related to Disney because they have a show on Disney or something like that. So it kind of makes sense there. But yeah, what are our thoughts about it being, released, alongside, Star Wars The Last Jedi? And do we see this, gaining a lot of traffic and whatnot? And we'll start off with Inspector.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that it's being released with The Last Jedi. It makes sense. It's their biggest movie of the year, and I hate to do this conversation, but like it's gonna be in like this comparison, but like it's in space, and so is Star Wars. So there's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of a
I didn't even
crossover
notice
there.
that. That's interesting.
Yeah, like it's not surprising. Like I'm looking forward to the trailer, even though I kind of have my hesitations on Infinity War. I think it's a bit too bloated for what they're doing.
I hear the
But,
runtime's
like,
going to probably be the longest out of
yeah. By the
for the Marvel
longest,
films.
they probably mean like 2.5 hours because the longest Marvel movie so far has been Civil War, and that's only been like 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So if they make it 2.5 hours, that's technically the longest Marvel movie. So I don't know. It's probably going to be between 2.5 hours and 2 hours and 40 minutes, something like that.
What about you, Marvel DC fan? What do you think?
I mean, I'm not surprised really because, well, if they're trying to, they're both Disney properties, so I mean, gotta put a trailer for something, and for the most part, I'm excited, but I don't know. It's just that it's hard to put in words, but I think it might be a little bit too bloated, but honestly, I'm just waiting to see what kind of comes up, and I hope that it is a good trailer and it makes me excited for this movie. Not to say that I'm not excited, but my hype has been slowly declining over the last couple months. So I'm hoping this kind of brings my spirits back up.
Yeah, I mean, if we got the real Comic-Con trailer, that'd be a different story instead of the leaked potato footage. What about you, Claudio? What do you think?
I think it'll be the same trailer as the Comic-Con.
I saw the stilled images. Is a lot of different scenes there.
Is it a lot different? Okay.
I only a couple are the same, like with Scarlet Witch, and Loki, but Proxima is new in there, and we saw no Thanos still images.
No Thanos.
From the still images we got that were leaked.
But I'm just surprised that they would do it then, though, if you know what I mean. December 4th. I thought they would do it at the ending of November, so 30th.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe they might do it earlier. Who knows? But this is what the former IG employee said when somebody guessed it. He was like, "Yep."
Yeah, it's just that what I Yeah. Well, that leaked, Avengers Comic Con Infinity War trailer, when that got leaked out, I thought straight up, what's it called? Marvel would have been like, yep, we're going to reveal the trailer there and then. But they're like, nope, screw you guys.
Yep.
And I kind of feel as if, well, if it's the 4th, it's good. At least now it's out. It's out of the way. But I think November would have been an ideal month for them to reveal it, not December. That's my honest opinion. But the person from IGN, I feel that should be shameful from them for do that shit.
Well, no, he's a former IG employee. He doesn't work for them anymore.
No, I mean, but obviously it's anonymous, isn't it?
I think it was like his Twitter handle. I mean, it wasn't that anonymous. So
It was his Twitter
I
and
think, don't quote me on that.
if it was from his Twitter account, I feel sorry for him. He's lost his credentials in another job.
Hey man, I don't mind.
Yeah, but at least we got some juicy information out of it.
Yep. All right, so that is it. We're gonna quickly now talk Justice League. This is some topics about it. I guess we're gonna start with reviews and then talk about the topics after that. I'm gonna I always go back and forth between my scores, and so I'm gonna quickly describe the movie. What I feel is I love the character interactions. I thought Aquaman was good. I really like Cyborg. I thought Wonder Woman was still the same character from Wonder Woman in her standalone film, and I like how they addressed about how she was gone. Not doing any superhero business until Batman v Superman. I like that, and I liked some of the shots. I thought the cinematography was good. I thought the action was solid. I didn't think it was as good as Batman v Superman. I do wish we got the scene, and spoilers, we're going to go more into it, is the flashback for Steppenwolf. I kind of wish we had more of an expanded scene for that. It looked like it would have been a really impressive like a battle scene, war scene, and it would be pretty cool to see that. I really liked that. I liked how Superman was represented in this film. I felt like he was more of the more like not emo. I don't want to say emo, but more of the hopeful Superman, more of the outgoing Superman. That's what I really
smile now.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I did like how he got his, him, breathing frost. And also, I thought those are really my positives, I guess. I did like some of the jokes. Some of the jokes to me fall flat. It was like, for me, it's like 40, 60. Like I liked 40% of the jokes, and then I didn't like 60%. And this kind of felt like Ant-Man for me as well. Like how I didn't like that many of the jokes being said. I don't know if it's because of Joss Whedon. Who knows? What else can I say? I did kind of like the history lesson behind the mother boxes. I thought that was cool. What I didn't like, I'll go into that, I guess, is these. I don't know how much they paid for the CGI, but I was one of those people that said about the CGI mustache, right? That no, it's not going to be a problem in the film. What are you talking about? It's going to be easily done. It's not going to be a problem in the film. You guys are crazy. Why are we getting stories about this? And when I go in and see the first shot, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like, what happened to the face?
And it didn't help that most of the Superman scenes were reshot, like reshoots.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh gosh. It's like the first scene, I was just like, I noticed something was up. I was like, No, Henry didn't get fat, did he? Like, no.
No, he didn't. No.
So I was like, okay. And I love Ben Affleck though at acting, but I feel this Batman representation isn't the Batman representation I was hoping for.
Yeah, I feel that's the problem with the reshoots because I think when they called Ben back for reshoots, I think he wasn't feeling it, and I think you could tell in some scenes that Ben was giving it his all, and sometimes like he was just like out of it.
Mm-hmm. And when I go into this, like, besides like the acting abilities, like to me, he's a phenomenal actor, and some of the scenes were amazing and then good, and then like slightly below good, right? I didn't like though. Besides that, Batman as a whole, right? I felt like we didn't get a sense of a real depiction of Batman. What I mean by that is we go from Batman v Superman. He kills. That's something I didn't like. But then we go into a more of a jokey Batman in a way, and I think that was Joss Whedon's fault.
I think that was Joss Whedon because like you can tell in the beginning. Well, actually, the beginning scene, it's been confirmed that beginning intro where he's like interrogating the guy, that was Joss Whedon. Like that scene, it's confirmed that it was directed by Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
I think it was confirmed by some guy from Variety or some other site. But yeah, I feel the problem is that Joss Whedon wanted to make Batman more like Tony Stark, which is not who Batman is. Like Batman is not Tony Stark.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the Batman jokes didn't really land for me that much.
He's not Tony Stark. He's freaking Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that joke where it's like, oh, my leg, or whatever that.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm bleeding now, or something like that. Like, I was like, oh, man, fam. It like legit reminded me like of Civil War, I guess, when Tony Stark was like, I think it was like the automated AI was just like, oh, you have like broken bones and some contusions. Like, yeah, I can feel that. Like, it really like just brought flashbacks. I was like, yep, Tony Stark. What I also didn't like is the CGI to me felt off. I don't know. Some of the scenes were great with CGI. Some of them just were.
Yeah, I also feel that's a problem with the reshoots where they had 6 months to completely reshoot and retool the movie, and they had to add new VFX shots. And like, I feel they should have pushed this movie back to finish the CGI. I mean, I don't think it would have like helped the entire film because the film would still have that 2-hour mandate, which is stupid. But like the CGI would have been better, and it would have been a better looking movie than what we got.
Yeah. I'll say also this. I kind of felt the villain for Steppenwolf, which this is a problem of comic book movies in general, is they don't spend enough time with villains as they should.
Yeah, because like, and also the problem with the 2 hours is that most of the Steppenwolf backstory was cut out and actually changed because of Joss Whedon.
Exactly. And
like, to me, like, I wanted Steppenwolf in this movie mainly just because he looked cool, and I think he would have looked cool in the movie. But he's not really an interesting character. He's Darkseid's uncle. He hasn't really had that much development in the comics. Like, the only time he really stood out as a character was in Earth 2, and that's only because like, oh, he's a bringer of Darkseid, but Darkseid's too busy over in the main universe, so Steppenwolf has to stay here. He became like a dictator of a country or something. Like, that was the most interesting Steppenwolf had been since he was created in the 70s. Other than that, he's just like, I'm here to like be like the messenger of Darkseid, and like then the heroes beat him up, and then Darkseid comes, and then they beat Darkseid. So
Mhm.
yeah, I feel it was kind of a mistake to put Steppenwolf in. But a lot of people are saying like, oh, they should have gone with Granny Goodness. It's like you really think people like general audiences, not because contrary to popular belief, the comic book, like the comic book audience, the hardcore comic book fan is like 1 or 2% of the actual audience.
Yep.
That go to comic book movies. Other than that, it's people that are completely oblivious to comics. So, do you really think it would have been smart to have the Justice League beating on an old lady? I don't think so. But
Yeah.
whatever. Water under the bridge.
I thought the score was decent. Some of them were kind of good, and some were all right. Because I was going back and forth whether I liked it or whether I didn't. I thought it was solid. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought it was in between there. What else would I say? The pacing, the story, right? It felt very rushed. I said this on Twitter. It didn't, to me, flow well like it should have.
Yeah, like scenes didn't have any like transitions. It was just like, especially in the beginning, where it's like this scene, jump cut, another scene, jump cut, another scene. Like it was just going like too fast, and like none of the scenes had time to breathe. And I feel like if it was longer, those scenes would have had more time to marinate.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And also, but this is kind of similar problem I have with Batman, where I'm gonna have with Superman. I like the new depiction of Superman, but the transition to that Superman just wasn't there.
It was just way too fast. It's like he attacks the League. They bring Lois in. I guess that was supposed to be like a callback to Batman v Superman, where it's like she's the key.
Yeah,
Lois,
I guess.
But like Lois, she's the key. Martha, no. But then I was, yeah. I feel that was kind of too quick. Like it was like a 2-minute fight, and then like Lois came and calmed them down. It was kind of like, I don't like saying this with Age of Ultron, where it's like Black Widow's like,
yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. The sun's getting real low, boy. So, oh man, that's too funny. Yeah. This was Thor was making fun of, which I thought was funny. Like taking shots there. What I was gonna say is because going from Batman v Superman, right, to going to the Superman here, there wasn't a transition. There wasn't that development. How he became that Superman, the hopeful Superman, the iconic Superman. That's what I didn't like. And what I would like to have seen more was Aquaman, more of his backstory. I felt we didn't get that backstory that we deserved, and we might have with Zack's cut. And also, I know that there was this split between liking the Flash and not liking the Flash. I was on the camp where I didn't like this depiction of Flash, just because they made him really, really goofy. And I can understand why people did like that. But to me, reading some of the comics for Flash and some watching the TV show, right? Flash doesn't act to that way. He's very lighthearted, yes, but not to that degree. And I was on that fence. And I was just like, he's just too goofy. And I wish they kind of showed more of the scenes with the prisons, because I didn't feel that connection like I did with the Flash TV show, of how emotionally invested you got in that TV show for season 1. And that's one of the problems I had with him. And I know some people who are diehard Aquaman fans might have a problem with this Aquaman. I don't. Because I really like Jason Momoa's performance for Aquaman.
I just feel like with the runtime too, like most of his scenes were cut out.
Yeah.
So you didn't really get to see the full extent of what he can do.
hmm And I think, and then really a nitpick was for Henry Cavill, and if I was Josh Whedon, I would have been like, retake there, please. Was the whole like, do you bleed? Like, I unintentionally laughed. I told this to like a couple people, like Inspector, like
Yeah.
it was it wasn't like on purpose. I was like, what? Like
how about the I'm a big fan of Justice line.
Oh yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people are making fun of that line. Like, I'm a fan of I'm a fan of truth. I'm also a big fan of justice. Whatever that line was.
Yeah. That to me was a bit much. Besides that, like, that was a nitpick. I do want to say I did like the Bruce and Wonder Woman interactions, and I hope they don't go the route that they were trying to have it where
that was all Joss Whedon. Like, Joss Whedon added all the romantic tension.
Yeah, I was like, no, man, no.
Because
there's a problem in the comics where, we had Superman with Wonder Woman and Batman with Wonder Woman. It just didn't click with a lot of people.
Actually, Batman was never with Wonder Woman. Like, the only time
it was only in the cartoon. She was,
okay.
Yeah, it was only in the cartoon, and they never really got together. Like, it was more like romantic tension, I guess.
I never liked it. For those reasons, and also for Superman. Just like I liked it better with Wonder Woman with Steve Trevor.
I've always liked Steve Trevor.
The only reason why she was with Superman was of the New 52, but other than that, I was like, what?
Yeah, like not a lot of people like that relationship anyway.
Yeah,
and that's why they brought back old Superman and old Lois Lane. So.
I like the post-credit scenes. I love Deathstroke was in it, which means
I want to talk about that. So, because I have an idea. So,
yeah, I'm gonna give you that idea, but I'm gonna say it kind of gives credence, or gives credit that we may have a Deathstroke movie for the works. Besides what Inspector may say later.
And hey, look, Jesse Eisenberg actually finishing sentences.
Yeah. You guys know my opinion on Jesse Eisenberg. I don't like him. Never did.
I thought he was I think this scene was better than any of the scenes in Batman v Superman.
I mean, I guess. I mean, for me, it's like, I don't know this dude.
His head, his head looks so small in that suit, though. He looked like really weird in that suit. He looks so weird with that bald cap on. Like, because it's a bald cap. Because they didn't really shave Jesse Eisenberg's head in Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Gene Hackman when he didn't want his head shaved, so he just wore a bald cap. In Superman, I think it was Superman 2 or 3.
Yeah. You guys know, I just think he has no range. I don't think he's evolved as an actor for a while. He just acts like himself. I do like the first post-credit scenes. It's pretty good. So yeah, I was giving the race, which I'm gonna say this once and once only: Flash is faster than Superman.
Yeah.
What?
A lot of people were making fun of how Flash runs in this movie because a lot of people thinks he looks like a dork when he's running, but especially that last scene where his arms are really weird.
Yeah, hey man, people run different ways,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes Flash is like that, where he has a weird twist, and his arms are always in a running man stance, which I don't get.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I do like the effects for Flash though. That was a big
I like his lightning. His lightning was cool.
Other than that, yeah, that's my thoughts. For me, it's I go 6.5, 7. For me, I still keep the score for 7. Some days I'm just 6.5. Some days it's 7. Just because of the way they interact with each other, I thought it was the saving grace of the film for me. And I thought the action was solid. And the main points I didn't like was the story, the villain, and the development sometimes for some characters, and some of the CGI. That's my thoughts. We'll give it to the Inspector.
So,
Personal take.
what I thought, I'm pretty much in the same vein as Red Hood, but I was a little bit more generous. Like, I agree, like, the character interactions were the best part, especially, I think, between Flash and Cyborg, Flash and Batman, Wonder Woman and Cyborg, and some of the Batman Wonder Woman stuff was good, and some of it was a bit forced. Other than that, like, yeah, all the character interactions were great. I thought the action was pretty good. It kind of went into, like, at least the end battle, it kind of went into kind of the problem with the DCU, where it's like just a lot of CGI and like just a lot of like muddled stuff. But one of my nitpicks, and this bothered me throughout the movie, Wonder Woman uses that freaking bracelet shockwave in every action scene. I'm like, that's her way out of like every action scene. Like, she used it in the beginning when she was like facing those guys in that building in London. She used it in her second battle with Steppenwolf. She used it in her first battle with Steppenwolf. She used it in the second battle with Steppenwolf. Like, she had two like fights with Steppenwolf in the tunnel, and she used it both times. She used it and she used it in the final battle. So she used it like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, you're Wonder Woman. You should be using your sword and your shield. You don't have to fall back on that shockwave. Like, I get it looks cool, but like when you use it every time, it kind of like loses its luster. And I think that was Joss Whedon, because Joss Whedon is like, hey, that looks cool. Why don't you do that? And like it was used so well in Batman v Superman and Wonder Woman just because it was used sparingly. So like when it was used, it was really cool. And going through the characters, as Chuck said, I liked Batman. I just think the reshoots kind of took a lot out of Affleck, and you can tell that Affleck kind of didn't want to be there in some scenes. And those were the scenes that were reshot. Wonder Woman was good, even though I feel they kind of played up her sexuality a bit too much. Like, there was a lot of butt shots for no reason. And there's this one joke that was, as we were talking about in the pre-show before we went live, there's this one scene where Flash lands on top of Wonder Woman and his face is in her boobs. And yeah, it was like there, like in my theater when I saw Justice League on Thursday, like people laughed, but then again, like there was only 10 people in my theater, including me. So, yeah, I think a lot of the jokes on Wonder Woman's expense were kind of like, I don't want to say sexist, but kind of like overbearing. Because like when he was
Did you say unnecessary as
like
kind of a word for that?
Yeah, unnecessary. They were unnecessary, and they were all Whedon, because that scene where Flash lands on top of Wonder Woman, that was a reshoot. And what's even worse, that was Gal Gadot's body double, so she had no consent in that scene. So that's why like she was looking away, because that was not Gal Gadot, that was her body double. So like I think Gal Gadot like came in just like, I don't know if it was ADR or like, I guess we didn't like, Cameron is like, we're gonna do this scene, and just didn't give her any context. But like, yeah, I really like Cyborg, even though his story was totally cut out of the movie because of the runtime. I like Superman minus the weird mustache removal because that was really distracting. Because his upper lip was always like flared for some reason, and it's become a meme on the internet, which is hilarious. Like every comic book movie has a meme. But like, yeah, the Superman memes are kind of really funny. Who else? Um, I agree that Flash kind of got overbearing at times, but I enjoyed Ezra Miller. I think that he kind of can be compared to what Hal Jordan was in the New 52 Flash reboot, like the New 52 Justice League reboot, because Hal was like very overbearing and like he had jokes that weren't funny. So I kind of compare it to that. And I think that's just because they needed him to be comedy relief. So that's why he was like super over the top and like goofy and all that stuff. So I can let that slide. But I think that the scenes where like he dialed it down when he was with his dad, those are really good scenes. I really like those scenes when he was in the prison with his dad. I liked the action for the most part. I really liked the tunnel fight. I liked the fight with Superman, even though it was kind of short and like the ending was kind of anticlimactic there. I liked the two fights between Wonder Woman and Steppenwolf. Yeah, as Red Hood said, I think the main problem with this movie is the runtime. It was way too short. They cut out a lot of scenes that should have been in there. And I think that it's mainly with Kevin Tsujihara because he put the 2-hour mandate on the movie, and it's partly on Joss Whedon just because Joss Whedon changed the tone so drastically that like I don't. I think Joss Whedon kind of hampered the movie more than helped it. So that's my point on Joss Whedon. So going to the after credit scenes, like the first one is self-explanatory. It's just the race. I liked it. It was classic, but like the second one got me excited just because like to me, if they go with the Injustice League name, I hate that name. I think it's cheesy. Like I think the Injustice League is like a group of punk kids that just like created a group that was the anti-Justice League, and they say, "Oh, we're the Injustice League because we're against the Justice League." I much prefer Secret Society because I think that fits the name of supervillains more than Injustice League. And what I hope is that, so we know that Lex Luthor is like forming this society or Injustice League or whatever they're going to call it, and he's bringing Deathstroke onto the team. One of my favorite comic book runs of all time is Secret Six, and that's basically it's kind of like Suicide Squad, but they're unsanctioned, so they're not part of the government. And they were formed during the countdown to Infinite Crisis in a story called Villains United, where there was a group called the Secret Society of Supervillains, and they were led by Lex Luthor, and it also had Deathstroke, and it had Black Adam, and it had Talia al Ghul. Basically, the inner circle of the Secret Society was 6 people, and the Secret Six was formed by this woman named Scandal Savage, who is actually the daughter of Vandal Savage. And the thing about the Secret Six is that they were villains that were offered membership into the society but declined. So that included Deadshot, who was part of the Suicide Squad. So they can keep Deadshot. The main team included, at least in Villains United, it included Catman, Thomas Blake, Deadshot, Ragdoll, who was this weird villain, a random parademon that was stranded on Earth, and Cheshire, who people might know from Young Justice, and I'm forgetting the other one. But like after that, the team changed, and like Bane joined the team. He was a big member of the team. So I think what they can do is that if they're building up the secret society, I think it would be a good choice to make Suicide Squad 2 Secret 6, because I know a lot of people want to see like a squad versus squad type of Suicide Squad 2 movie, and I think that fits the mold perfectly, where it's like villains versus villains. So yeah, that's my idea for Suicide Squad 2. When or if it happens, or if they scrap it, I don't know. So I don't know. Yeah, so my overall thoughts for Justice League, I enjoyed it, even though like there are a lot of problems. I would give it around a 7.5. As I said, I was more generous than Red Hood, but like yeah, I still enjoyed it. It was good. It was fun. I know people hate that word for some reason, but like yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
Okay.
And I kind of went on a bit there. Sorry
I
about
got
that.
you.
Yeah, that's understandable. For me though, in terms of Justice League though, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Because it was a good movie to watch. And on top of that, there was like some scenes were like funny, some scenes weren't. But I felt as if some of the scenes were missing. You know, especially the ones which were originally in the trailer, such as Superman going to Alfred and Lois Lane, you know, looking up in the sky, and I was like, "Hold on, that wasn't in the movie." And yeah, I know it's spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, then tough luck. So, but what I'm saying is though that I think, as a whole, though, I think they should do a ultimate edition, but feature those scenes that were supposed to be in the movie that already are done. And I mean, obviously, it doesn't come out till, well, the ultimate cut, whatever they're gonna call it, it'll probably come out February, March time. But as a whole, I enjoyed the movie. Gave it a 7.5. The only downside was obviously the mustache scene. Some of Batman's dialogue, Ben Affleck's dialogue, and also the scenes which didn't make sense. That was the downside. Other than that, everything else was good. But Marvel DC fan, do you have anything to say about Justice League and your score and all of that?
Well, to be honest, I actually haven't seen the movie yet, and
What?
Sorry, we
yeah.
spoiled it all for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Dude, I honestly thought
No,
you'd
but-
seen the movie.
Before you see it.
I would have not said any scenes that just done
Yeah.
a non-spoiler.
It's fine. It's fine. I already spoiled myself like when the movie came out, so it don't matter anyway. I don't care. But I mean, like, I really hope from what I've seen with, you know, Super Mustache and like all this other stuff, I hope it doesn't hurt my opinion on the movie. I mean, I'm really excited to see the interactions between each of the leaguers, and I'm not really too thrilled about, Steppenwolf. He seems kind of forgettable, I would say. But I mean, I'm excited to see it. Uh, I, I'm gonna say that I really won't be surprised by anything now. But Yeah.
Sorry we spoiled it for you though.
Uh,
What can I
whatever.
say?
Now
It'll
I
be
feel
fine.
so bad.
Yeah.
me
Move
too.
It's, I just had fun just kind of listening to you guys go on, and I'm like, all right, yep,
Oh my
that's
god.
happening.
I was like, what? You haven't seen it? It's been how long has
No.
it been since it's come out? It came
It's
out on
been
Friday.
Yeah,
Since
it's
Under
been
a
about
week.
it's
Under a
almost been a
week.
week.
I mean, hell, it's even on the
Well,
internet.
we don't have a theater. Well, we don't have a local theater where I live anymore. So if I wanted to go see it anyway, I'd have to go out of town.
You can
So-
watch it. You can pirate it. Whatever.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
I don't
No,
advocate
dude.
pirating, guys.
You said it.
You said it.
I know. Like I was joking.
I
I know.
I
know
really
you
don't
were
want to
joking.
watch it from like a camcorder, like with like people's reactions in it. I don't want to sit through that. So I'm hoping to go see it soon and have a review up. So yeah.
Okay, I guess we're gonna go on to the.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Oh my god. This is
I guess we're gonna go into the box office results for the 3-day weekend, right? I know it made in the 90 mil, right? I don't know specifically. Was it 94, 96, or 90?
96.
It was 93.
93. Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay.
I know it was in that ballpark range. So it was 93 million domestically, and then like worldwide, it made what 200 over 200 million.
It's like 280, something like that.
Okay. It's see, I don't like talking about bad news, but it is the lowest ranking, lowest debut for a DCEU movie domestically of all time. Yeah. It's still, I think the highest ranking is Batman v Superman, right?
Yeah, Batman v Superman. It made 166 domestic and I think 420 worldwide. Yeah.
Okay.
But the difference between I mean, the main thing about that is that it had a huge drop off. So,
which it tends to happen with superhero movies besides Wonder Woman.
Yeah, besides Wonder Woman and also Thor, because Thor had like Thor I think had like a 45% drop or something like that second week. But because of Justice League, it had like its third week I think it had like a 65 to 70% drop, something like that.
Yeah.
But that was to be expected. So I don't know why people are losing their minds over that.
So we're gonna go into what is the problem, what's the cause, why it's not making the projected money it should, because of what originally it's supposed to be over was it 140 or 120? Because they keep decreasing it throughout the weeks.
Originally, like back in July, I guess because they were hyping it up so much that like they were saying, oh, like some sites were saying like 140, 150, but when it originally went on the tracking board, I think it was at like 110 to 120.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like a month. That was like a month ago when it originally came onto the tracking board.
And then it like decreased to like 100.
Then it decreased to 100, and then below 100.
Okay.
So
we're gonna, I guess, in our opinion, is what is the cause of why it's not making the money it should, and I think, and Inspector actually, like when listening to his viewpoint, it was because I didn't think about it like this, where it was mostly media outlets talking about everything in terms of the extensive reshoots and directors and all that could be a culprit. I also think marketing wasn't strong, and I feel like WB's marketing hasn't been the greatest.
no.
Besides it, I thought the marketing for it was really
I
good.
thought the marketing for it was really good.
Blade Runner was abysmal.
I think the problem with WB, especially with their DC movies, they start marketing their movies way too early. Like their trailers, like the first Wonder Woman trailer came out at Comic-Con, and that was a year before the movie came out.
Yeah,
I think that's a mistake. I think from now on they should start marketing their movies, like their first trailers should come out 6 months before the movie comes out to give them a good window for the movie. Don't put your trailers a year before the movie comes out, because that I think that's just a stupid idea, because like you put out the trailer at Comic-Con, and then you don't get any news for like 6 months until the next trailer comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
I think
gonna also say I'm gonna say this real quick. Well, two things real quick, and then Spectre gets his chance. A lot of people are blaming critics for the not many people going, and when I say that, when people say that, I'm just like, I feel like critics don't have that much power. I think I'm surprised. I'm gonna agree with John Campea, which it's very rare for me to do. I think critics like
it's very rare for all of us to do.
Mm-hmm. He said something about like a 10%, like if it's good praise. Like someone told him, like not an insider, some like representative or business person said it gives them 10% more money from what they would have originally made, or 10% of less than they would have originally made, right? And I kind of agree with that statement, because we get movies like Transformers, and they make $1 billion in the box office, and that to me shows that casuals don't care about critics. When I have like a couple people of like my friends, right, they go to movies like that because they don't care about critical receptions. They just want to see a movie, and they don't care. Like, and my thing is like the same thing with Justice League, right? I had a couple of my friends go there, and they don't know about Rotten Tomatoes. Like, what's Rotten Tomatoes? And I was like, oh, it's an aggregator site. It's like, who cares? Like, oh, okay. Like, usually with that, I feel a lot of people want to give power to that, which people shouldn't. It's just an aggregator site. It's just, to me, I think it's because of a lot of coverage about what was happening with Zack Snyder and Josh Whedon and the extensive reshoots and all that kind of affecting that and hearing too many problems. And also, I feel a bit of it was the marketing, and that's really truly the cause. And my advice going forward for WB is not to meddle with the films in any shape or form. Stop giving mandates. And also, I think Batman v Superman may have been a cause for that as well.
Yeah, like
it's a direct sequel.
Yeah, I'll get into that when she gets to me, because I have my part to say in that.
Mm-hmm. I think because, some people watch Batman v Superman and then go to Justice League and they're like, I don't like it, so I'm not going to see it, which probably was the case for that. But those are my thoughts on why it didn't make as much money as it should have, and we'll go with Inspector.
So here's my thoughts on why it didn't make as much money as it did. I think media outlets have something to do, because there was so much negative press going into this movie. Like, it was pretty much set up to fail by all these sites, with all these like extensive reshoots and like retooling and all this stuff. But I feel one of the main problems is actually not the sites, even though I feel the sites are like really egregious, especially like I feel like I'm not even counting blog sites here. I'm counting like big trade sites like Variety and the such. I think Hollywood Reporter is so egregious in their coverage of the DC movies, but like that's a whole nother subject when you're talking about Hollywood Reporter. But I think one of the main problems is that I think the meddling is just because WB has had, I think, a conflict of vision with Zack Snyder ever since Man of Steel. I think when they saw the, frankly, disappointing results of Man of Steel, Like it didn't even make $700 million. I would consider that a disappointment for a first movie in a cinematic universe. Actually, I don't know, but for a movie as I think as big as Man of Steel, for the budget it was, I think it was like 200 million or like 250 million, something like that. Yeah. I think, and also with Batman v Superman, how they had to cut it down, and like, I think that after Batman v Superman, WB was so focused on fixing Batman v Superman, like the problems with Batman v Superman, than making a good movie and letting the directors have their vision. Because like you see Batman v Superman, right? It did terribly in terms of critic reception. It did frankly mediocre in terms of audience reception. Like it was half and half. It was really divisive. It made a lot of bank though, even though like a Batman v Superman movie should have made $1 billion, but because of like the mediocre reception, it didn't make 900. And you see with Suicide Squad is that this tone problem with the DCU, I think, is manufactured, because I don't think the quote unquote tone is the problem with the DC movies, but I think when WB heard the criticisms of the tone, they took all that to heart and just focused all of their attention on the tone and not the story that they're telling. So I think that's the problem. And I think that's the main problem with Justice League, because it had to deal with all the baggage of both Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. So it kind of was climbing an uphill battle. And plus with Joss Whedon hired, quote unquote, to lighten the tone, and you can definitely tell that like he was trying to lighten the tone. And like as you said, Red Hood, in your like little review, like it didn't really transition well. And I think that's the problem. That to me, the the movie that was the best and is still the best in the DC extended universe is Wonder Woman, just because like it was like Patty Jenkins was let to do her own thing. Like her movie didn't get meddled with, and the movie turned out well. The movie turned out great. It was actually an overperformance for their movie. Like I don't think WB expected Wonder Woman to get $1 billion, but like they didn't expect the critical like praise that it got, and like Wonder Woman is the only DC movie to get over 400 million domestic. Think about that. A Wonder Woman movie is the only DC movie, not Batman v Superman, not Justice League, to get over $400 million domestically. That's crazy. If you would have told me that before Batman v Superman came out, like I would have said no way. But yeah, like, and I feel with Justice League and with the end of the Snyder era of the DC movies, I think the movies will have a more that because I feel that this era of movies was too beholden to Zack Snyder's vision, and I think that I don't want WB to be like I kind of want to have like a quote unquote Kevin Feige figure in the DC, because in the DC movies, just because they're all over the place right now, because they don't really have a leader to follow. And I think Justice League, like a lot of people are calling for reboot because Justice League is bombing. And I'm saying that Justice League is kind of like a soft reboot in a way to set up this new era. I'm gonna say the Jeff Johns era of this DC universe. Because say what you want about Jeff Johns, I think the only movie that we can judge Jeff Johns on in terms of involvement is Wonder Woman, because he actually wrote Wonder Woman. But like, I don't hate all these DC shills that are jumping on Jeff Johns saying, "Oh, he's to blame for Justice League's failure." He's not. Like, yes, he was an executive producer, but like, he's not to blame. Stop throwing him under the bus. Like, it's not his fault. And I think the next movie, I think Aquaman, like James Wan, the production of Aquaman has gone really smoothly up until this point. And of course they scheduled reshoots, as every movie has reshoots. I assume the reshoots will happen in like spring, summertime next year. But I guarantee you those articles will pop up like, "Oh, Aquaman reshoots, what does this mean? Like, is the movie doomed because of reshoots?" But yeah, I think James Wan is safe, and I think the DC only has, I see only brighter pastures for the DC movies down the road.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Marvel DC fan? What do you think may be the cause of the earnings for the box office, and what do you think they should do to improve upon it?
I think one of the biggest would have to be the kind of behind the scenes aspect of it, of how Zack Snyder and had to drop out because of family problems and that kind of thing, and of course they had to bring Joss Whedon in and all that coverage. Another part I think is kind of how like the reception of like Batman v Superman, and also how DC is just trying to play catch up to the Marvel movies and trying so hard to, do what the fans want, just not really like succeed all that well. And I think Inspector's kind of right about they need sort of like a Kevin Feige figure. And I would agree that be the kind of man for that, because he knows all these characters.
Yeah, he knows
the back
all
of
these
his hand.
Yeah, he knows all these characters better than anybody working on the DCU, except for
Yeah.
I would say Patty Jenkins, because she has a really good hold on Wonder Woman. So
Yeah.
I think what they should do is that I think it should be Jeff Johns, and also Patty Jenkins should be like it should be like Jeff Johns, John Berg, and Patty Jenkins, because it would be Jeff
And I
Johns
would
who's the comic
agree
book
with
guy.
that.
Yeah, it would be Jeff Johns who's the comic book guy, who could like just oversee all the movies and like tell the directors and writers saying, hey, this isn't what the characters like. And John Berg is the studio aspect, because John Berg is an executive at WB, so John Berg can like just oversee in the studio aspects, and Patty Jenkins is kind of the director's voice. So yeah. That's what I have to say. Go on, Marvel DC fan. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's fine. Yeah.
Is that all?
You done, yeah?
You done?
Yeah.
Okay, Claudia, what do you think?
I think I agree with what you said, Inspector, in terms of how they should have, how things was dealt. That's why I really think that's why the what's it called, the box office money wasn't that high as it was for what's it called, predicted. And to improve on it though, I think that the WB don't need to worry about anybody else but they just need to focus on the movies.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. If they just focus on this movie itself, forget everybody else, forget the critics, because the critics will just criticize every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the book. I mean take a look at BVS, right? Yeah, they criticized it, but now they're loving it, and they're like, "Oh, BVS."
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I think they still have. Most of them still don't like it.
But a few of them. But a few of them.
I think more. I think it's less the critics and more like the audiences that are coming around on BBS. Because I think the critics aren't coming around that much, but I think it's the audiences, especially with like the ultimate cut.
Yeah.
But like, I think I still think the critics that didn't like it before still don't like it.
Mm-hmm. But for me though, it's like I saw the Rotten Tomato stuff, and I was like, really? And the audience, 86%, I believe, or 89% liked it, and it was about 26% that, or 27, I believe, it was that critics didn't like it. But in my book,
it was like 40 actually.
40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 40. So it's a bit better than Batman v Superman. Still.
Yeah, it did better than BVS. Yeah. But I believe though that WB shouldn't focus on what the critics say, just really focus on the movie and getting that out of for the release date. And yeah, if we have something that comes up in the thing, if those reshoots, don't use them. I'll be honest with you.
You can't say that because with reshoots,
I'm just
talking about reshoots.
I mean, I was gonna say, if this ever happened again, and if we had like Henry Cavill have a mustache again, and I'm like, no, not again. I'm like, no, don't use the reshoots again, like, unless it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my honest opinion though is just WB, focus on your own thing.
Yeah, well, I'm saying for WB, just stop interfering with stuff. I think WB just is being like they need a figurehead for the DC. Just like when Spectre was saying, Kevin Feige, like a person, and a Kathleen Kennedy type of individual. Because I feel like that's going to be more in tune, just in a better way, with everything being constructed from here on going forward and stuff. That to me is what needs to be done, and they just need this CEO of WB not to interfere because he's not helping the film at all. And that's it, really, to be honest. I guess we'll also ask a question as to, do we honestly see a actual director's cut for the film? Because what I'm hearing is, he's done all the shots, Zach, but there still needs to be VFX effects and scores. And to me, I don't think WB is going to put down the money just to have that done.
No.
Okay. What about you, Marvel DC fan?
I mean, there's a couple of things that, I would like to see how Snyder's vision would have, portrayed that in the movie, but yeah, I don't really think WB is really going to go down on it.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Talati?
It's a 50-50 thing, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. We don't know what WB would say to Zack Snyder, and let alone the people who make the DVD stuff. But it would take a year to actually do that. But I know there was a petition for this stuff. There was a petition for it to be a director's cut from Zack Snyder's vision, and he liked the post. Apparently, he liked this post, but he wants that to happen, according to the petition that people are signing from the fans and possibly even from the people who worked on the movie as well.
Yeah, but like, here's the big asterisk here to everyone. petitions don't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like look at Amazing Spider-Man 2. There was this huge petition for a director's cut of the film. Sony didn't give a
Never
shit.
happened.
Exactly.
But with you see Sony, but
But you honestly think the CEO of WB is gonna give a shit?
no, I mean it's a 50-50 thing. That's what I'm saying. It's a 50.
I feel like it's close to zero just because,
Exactly.
as Red Hood said, like
It
it would take
depends
so
on
long.
And the money, and
they
you don't know
wanna-
if you're gonna gain the money back
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and plus, like, usually, like, the window for a home video release is 4 months after the movie comes out. So that means the DVD or Blu-ray would come out around March, April time. That's not enough time to recut and re-edit and put in new special effects, and also change the ending, because Sweden changed the ending of the movie. So you're gonna have to put all the scenes back in, and also the score was half finished. So that means Junkie XL would have to come in and like finish up his score. So that takes another 5-6 months, and they would have to add in the score to the scenes that they originally intended to, and that takes a long time. So I just think it's it's impossible with the amount of money that they would spend, and also the time that they have.
Okay. But time will tell, though. To be honest with you,
I wouldn't rule out an extended cut, but not a Snyder cut.
Exactly.
no,
like-
I mean, I think there should be an extended cut.
Yeah,
but
I think an extended cut has more of a chance than the Snyder cut or whatever they're calling it.
But don't expect from me when I hear extended, right? I think of Suicide Squad. That was an extended cut.
Like
I
got ultimate cut because
Ultimate
like
Edition, the
Yeah.
BVS. Just look at it like that.
Yeah,
do you honestly think so though? A BVS Ultimate Edition?
I don't know, because like you could definitely tell that at least 15 to 20 minutes of this movie was cut out. So I think maybe that was a Whedon thing where it's like, oh, it doesn't connect with tone. There would be more of like a discrepancy with tone. But like, I don't know.
Well, we also don't know what the reshoots have done to the film in general.
Yeah,
In terms of that, in terms of the cutting, it may not make sense in general.
It may not make sense because Superman's, as we were talking about in the pre-show, Superman's resurrection was totally changed. Like,
Yeah, I also would like to say that. Let's go into that. I felt like, for me, like when we look at Batman v Superman with the Dirt Rising, right? Like I didn't expect the way that they were gonna go with it. I honestly felt like they were gonna open up the coffin and stuff like that. Honestly, I didn't think he was gonna be there.
yeah, that grave digging scene was so weird. Like it felt like so out of place. It's like, let's go dig up his grave.
Do you think that they would have done the same? What's it called? The scene where he punches out of the grave, like how they did with Superman Doomsday.
I think that.
Do you think that would have been much cooler?
I think. I know I'm following like the show's logic, but I think that I think it would have been better if they used the Codex, because the Codex is like, man, and they kind of could have explained it as the Codex is the Kryptonian healing matrix or healing coma, so that like it wasn't in the comics. And like I think that would have been better than this stupid convoluted plan that they had in the movie to resurrect Superman.
I mean, I don't know. I felt like he was just not going to be there.
But
like just because of seeing Batman v Superman with the Dirt Rising, like I thought, like I was expecting him not to be in the grave.
And also, that's like all the scenes where like Batman was looking at the hologram of Superman, and also like a scene at the end of the Comic-Con trailer where Alfred's like, "Let's hope you're not too late." Like that was definitely Superman.
No.
but like
That was
they
confirmed
totally
to be
cut that
Superman.
out, and yeah, that was cut. Like that was cut out and totally changed. So
We don't know what
needed.
we don't know what exactly is extensively cut, essentially, but in terms of minutes and that. But and we don't know what would have been that story anyway, in terms of if that was, the stuff which is cut out, how it would have been. But I think though, if they went along the lines with what Zack Snyder did with his vision, I think the things would be different. That's what I really think. I think things would be a lot different in terms of people's reactions to the way he's returned, and Superman's return, and also even the way Batman is.
Hmm.
That's what I believe. It wouldn't be, cringe or cheesy.
No, I think he would have been a little bit hopeful and stuff like that, but not to this point of like being a
Cheesy.
different person.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I believe, because I think in this movie Batman was a bit cheesy, um, but at the same time he was like joking. I'm like, Batman doesn't joke, so it's like,
I mean, like he'll rarely do a joke here and there, like.
no, but not
Oh yeah,
like that.
not to that extent, of course. No, that's what I'm saying.
He's more dry than
Yeah, yeah, but that's what I've got to really say about that one.
And I'm gonna say it's gonna be interesting going from Batman v Superman to Justice League in terms of Batman, side of the story to the Batman, because it's going from dark to light to dark. Because we know Matt Reeves, like in terms of his previous work, he does dark movies, so it's pretty much gonna be expected that. To me, I think Matt Reeves will have the best depiction for Batman, in my own opinion.
Hmm.
Because it's like, we go from a murdering Batman to a Tony Stark Batman to the actual like Batman I want to see on screen.
We want a definitive Batman. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we're gonna now go into a transitional question, and I'm gonna say, what is the worst video game you guys have played? And I'm gonna say the worst video game I have played is Duke Nukem Forever, and that is probably the just definitive bad game, because that game had terrible gameplay, terrible gun mechanics, terrible story, like terrible jokes. It's not even funny. I didn't laugh once in those jokes. And that thing went through development hell. And that is to be expected. Like, look at the original concepts of the game and the evolution until like the PS3 generation. It's insane how long that game took to be made. And that shit was a big piece of shit. Piece of shit that I wouldn't let an animal go nearby. And I'm just like, jeez. It's a game that I just don't want to ever remember playing, because I will never get those hours back. And I'm glad though I didn't spend money on it, because it was a present. But yeah, that present wasn't no bueno. So probably the worst video game I played, because yeah, there's no pros for that game, only cons. So what about you, Inspector?
I would say I have a few. The Iron Man 2 tie-in game. I don't know why I played that, but it was pretty bad. What else? Probably like one of the worst fighting games ever. Marvel Nemesis. Rise of the Imperfects. I used to love that game when I was young, but like I used to play with my dad and my sister all the time. But like when I look back at it, it's like the graphics were terrible. The gameplay was clunky. The story sucks. Like even the finishing moves like sucks. Um, um, So yeah, I would say Marvel Nemesis is the worst game I've ever played.
All right. What about you, Marvel DC fan?
So I'm gonna name off a trio of bad games that I've had the displeasure of playing, and that are practically infamous. And I think, hopefully, some of you might know where I'm going with this. So the games that I think are the worst are Batman Dark Tomorrow, Aquaman
Yeah.
Battle for Atlantis, and Superman 64. I
Oh
played
my.
all of them.
I remember Aquaman. Dude, that
And
shit was bad.
Why did you play them?
I played all of them, and I regret touching that controller that day, picking up each of them and playing those games, because the legends are true. The rings are awful. The controls are bad. Fucking
Dude, how
Aquaman is
about that flying sequence in Dark Tomorrow?
that is bad. That is really bad.
Dark Tomorrow is just
Even like the beginning of the game is bad too.
like I've seen I've never played Dark Tomorrow, but I've seen gameplay. Like it looks so
It
bad.
is awful, man.
Like it looks so clunky. Like it looks like the controls don't work.
They're just it's unresponsive. And that goes for each of them, and especially for Aquaman. But I think Dark Tomorrow is I don't know, because like it's between Aquaman and like Dark Tomorrow that I think is like the worst I've ever played. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Aquaman because it's basically underwater Superman 64, and it is just terrible.
Yeah. Oh man, that Aquaman game. I don't know how that thing like saw the light of day. Like in my honesty, it's like I just don't
be
know.
like, hey,
how did people think it was like
Aquaman.
this gonna be so good? Everyone's gonna love it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, fam.
No. But here's my worst game, though. My worst game, well, it's two actually. The first one being obviously Superman 64. I played that game back in the 90s, and I was like, no, I hated it. I really dreaded it. Couldn't even get past the rings section. You had a time and everything, and I was like, I won't be able to do it. So I sold the game off. I didn't buy it again. And the second worst game I have to say was Spider-Man 3 on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Reason behind that was the combat didn't make sense. It was very, very poor in terms of being a Spider-Man game. From the original, it obviously was a movie tie-in game, so it's what you expect. And it was very poorly executed. I mean, at least I could say this: it's worse than Superman Returns, and that I can tell you, it's worse than Superman Returns, the video game, and that is because the combat just didn't make sense, and the story as well. Trying to tie in with the movie, no, it didn't work out. Even though it's open world as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got you. All right, so now we're gonna go into, I guess, initial opinions. I know some people haven't watched it yet, so
I think we should like blaze through these because they're kind of going over time.
yeah. So I'm just gonna quickly go, I guess. So Punisher, right? I thought the show was amazing. The cinematography was great. The pacing was amazing. Character development was great. Frank Castle has actual depth to it. And the thematic things being played in the Punisher was very fantastic, such as PTSD, military, and it's very well done. And I thought it wasn't going to be like that, but I should be ashamed for saying that because Steve Lightfoot has worked on Hannibal, and Hannibal really does the same thing. So I shouldn't have been surprised about that. and I really enjoyed that aspect. And Marvel DC fan, have you seen any of the episodes?
I watched one, and I watched the first episode, and I actually really enjoyed it. But I'm really hoping to be amazed by the rest of the series. I hope it's good.
Yeah,
But
it is. All right, and now I guess we're gonna get into DC has now announced a Harley Quinn adult-oriented animated show. Going to be 26 episodes, and it is going to be voiced by Harley Quinn. Not Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. And there's no news whether or not it's going to be connected to the DCEU. I'm assuming because having Margot Robbie, it's going to be somehow, and this is going to be exclusively tied to the DC streaming service app that they're doing. And I guess we're going to go into our thought process about this show. For me, it's like, okay, I didn't think we were going to get a adult-oriented Harley Quinn TV show, and I didn't think they were going to have Margot Robbie in it. So it's going to be interesting to see that. And we did get like a concept art image, so it is what it is. I guess I'm assuming that's what the art style for the show is going to be. But what do you think about it, Taladi?
I think, honestly, the Harley Quinn movie, being on the Harley Quinn TV show, being on the WB network, it's interesting that Margot Robbie's voicing it. I think it'll do well, obviously. But the only thing is, I wish someone like Arlene Sorkin could voice Harley Quinn, or somebody who has a voice talent background. A voiceover background, because that would be more interesting than just being an actress who has no experience of doing voiceover work, but has done it on the big screen though. So that's what I gotta really say about that.
Marvel DC fan, what do you think?
Honestly, I haven't really seen the reveal. I saw an article about it, but I wasn't able to read it because I was busy with stuff. But I think this could actually be a good thing because, of course, Harley Quinn is a really popular character, and Margot Robbie, I really liked her in Suicide Squad. And I think with her voicing Harley in the cartoon, it'll bring more of a general audience to it, whether they actually know it's Harley Quinn or not. But I'm tempted to see how it's going to be, but I mean, if I'm probably going to watch the first episode, and depending on that, I'll decide whether or not I'll actually, sit down and watch it. So, I mean, I'm optimistic about it, to say the least.
All right. What about you, Inspector?
What was the question again? Sorry.
About the whole Harley Quinn being voiced by
yeah.
Margot Robbie DC streaming show.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, she's popular from the Suicide Squad movie, but I kind of agree with Claudia, where it's like, I feel they should have gotten like a voice actress, like an actual voice actress that has background, and not just like Margot Robbie from, like, are they gonna model Margot Robbie, like model the animated Harley Quinn after Margot Robbie?
That, or the reason they're using the voice is it's going to be connected to the DC EU.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because I think this new DC streaming service is gonna be. I don't think a lot of people are gonna get it. So no. I don't think they're gonna.
And plus, it's only for the US as well. That's the downside.
Yeah.
I guess. I want to address, make everyone aware and about net neutrality possibly being overturned. And I think this is regarding America, though. I want to tell everyone to talk to like your local senators and stuff like that. Call Congress and people like that and tell them that you want net neutrality, because without it, you're gonna have people like Comcast and other stuff like that having it. It's basically you're gonna pay more. You're not gonna have this unified internet. You're gonna have different plans of, oh, you're gonna have to pay additional $15 for gaming, and also another $5 for YouTube, another $5 for Netflix, and so on and so forth. Basically, the economy is going to work like all these internet providers are going to charge us extra for doing stuff that we like on the internet, and I feel that this is wrong, and that we need to, because we're getting close to that time for Congress and stuff like that to vote whether or not they want to overturn net neutrality. And I think that we need to fight them on this. I think that everyone needs to be aware about the situation our country's in for the internet. And I feel that this shouldn't be allowed. We need to continue to have net neutrality because we don't want to be exploited as citizens of America for just using the internet. And this is ridiculous. We're getting to this point that everyone's going to start charging us extra to do stuff that we enjoy during our downtime. Marvel DC fan, what do you think?
I actually don't have an opinion, really.
Oh yeah, you're in Canada. Lucky son of a gun.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
The only American is, I guess, Inspector.
I pretty much agree with you. Like, this topic has been talked to death, and I think John Oliver did it like a great piece on it. So I would just say, if you're interested in net neutrality and like the negatives of overturning it and stuff, just watch John Oliver's piece on it.
Exactly. Just vote, guys, and just call your senators and stuff like that. We don't want an internet without net neutrality. All right, guys, I do want to say thank you for watching the Overleveled podcast. We do have a SoundCloud. Check that out. It's the Overleveled podcast. We still gotta figure out some image, like logo, but we don't have one for now, so it's going to be blank. I'm also still trying to figure out for iTunes. Yeah, we're just one more step closer for iTunes. But check us out on SoundCloud. I'm going to put that also in the description for you guys to check that out. I do want to say, guys, if you guys are listening to us and are Americans, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys enjoy turkey and have a good feast.
Well, I have to work, so.
Dude, on Thanksgiving, man, jeez.
Yes, it's our busiest day.
It's no days off.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna do our outros. You guys, you're on my channel. Hit that subscribe button if you like the channel, and if you want to hear more from the podcast as well, and also hit the bell notification so you guys get updated as to when the live stream occurs. And I'm gonna try and make some videos, hopefully. I keep saying that. I do apologize if I don't. It's just I'm busy at times. Inspector, where can they find you at?
No, you can find me on Twitter at the Inspector.
All right, Marvel DC fan, where can they find you at?
Well, of course, you can find me on my YouTube channel. That's Marvel DC Fan X99. If you want to talk to me directly on Twitter, you can find me at Marvel DC Fan X99. I have a Facebook, which, whatever, you message me there or whatever, we chat. That you just Marvel DC Fan on Facebook, and we're done with The Last of Us, and now we're moving on to Journey, which actually is going to be a little bit of a small playthrough. And then, of course, I got a big game coming up after that, which you'll have to stay tuned in and find out what that is. But I encourage you all to like my videos, comment, ask me whatever, or if you have an opinion on stuff, you can let me know. And actually, forget about that. Share my videos with your friends and family and all that stuff. So I want to thank you all for listening to my sweet voice, and take care.
Good. Taladia, where can they find you at?
You can find your boy Taladia Plays on Twitter, which is at mtaladia. You can also find me on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Taladia Plays. And you can also find my YouTube channel, which is simply Taladia Plays, where I've just recently done a collab video with IronG Gamer, and we talked about possibility of a Superman game coming from Rocksteady Studios. So we did a discussion about that, and leave a comment and give me your opinions on that. But yeah, so this has been the Overlevel podcast, and we're gonna sign off.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Everything's good. See you later.
See ya.